Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum ya Abu Abdullah. We're talking about Ziyarat Ashura, the Ziyarat that has many lessons to be learned from it and has much reward to be gained from it. So we're at this line, Allahumma ja'al mahyaya mahya Muhammadin wa al Muhammad. This is a very famous line or dua inside the Ziyarat. And we ask Allah, please make my lifetime in the same way as Muhammad and Muhammad's household. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad lived. So we're asking Allah to make our hayat, our life, like their lives. Wa mamati mamata Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. And make me die on the same principles in which Muhammad and Muhammad's household died. So when you examine this line in Ziyarat Ashura, it's possible that mahya, which is basically means hayat here, means life, hayati. So you're asking Allah to make my hayat like Prophet Muhammad's hayat. So therefore, when you think about this word, one way that it's been translated is this present life that I have, the way that I live, to make and change my life in a way that it fits exactly how the Holy Prophet lived. That's one definition, and we're going to talk about this first. So when your life is like Prophet Muhammad's life and his family's life, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you have to first learn about their life. If you want to conform your life to their life, you have to know how they lived. Somebody wants to live, say, a lifestyle of, a certain group of people, he has to learn about them first. If a person wants to be like a person, he has to know about them first. So one of the problems that we have here is that we are lacking seerah knowledge, biography knowledge, the way that our Holy Prophet of Islam lived, the way that Imam Ali lived, A lot of times we just know a lot of information about the day of Ashura, which is really good. But we're lacking that knowledge, especially when it comes to the history of Islam, the early history of Islam. So first we have to gain our knowledge. If we want to become like the Holy Prophet and his family, we'll learn about him. What did he do? What happened and when did he become a prophet? What happened in that 13 years in Mecca, for example, in detail? What happened those 10 years in Medina, and what were the strategies of the Prophet? What did he do with his enemies? How did he deal with his adversaries? What was his strategy? What did he do about community building in Medina? So you have all these things that you need to learn so that you can get the proper basira, to proper insight, to know how to live life like the Holy Prophet. You need to learn, how he did ibadat, how he treated his family, and you need to learn how he did, say, business, how he, So there's a lot of things to learn if you want to live like the Holy Prophet of Islam. You have to first learn the seerah. One of the ziyarats we have that gives us a few lines of, very short lines but sweet, is Ziyarat Jame Kabira. In this ziyarat, it has a few lines about the Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, which we're going to talk about right now. وَفِعْلُكُمُ الْخَيْرِ, we read, for example, in it. And your deeds are all good. So if you want to become like the Ahlul Bayt, they were all good. Their actions were all good, were khair. وَعَادَتُكُمُ الْإِحْسَانِ, your habits are charity. Your habits were, again, doing good to others. وَسَجِيَّتُكُمُ الْكَرَمِ, and your nature is generosity. You were very generous. So there are characteristics in our ziyarat, in our, the books of history, that can give us more knowledge about the lifestyle of the Holy Prophet and Imam Ali. So whatever we learn from them, because they are our behavioral paradigm, we change ourselves and conform ourselves with that, and we become like them, inshallah. So that's the first explanation and the first understanding of what it means to have the hayat of the Prophet Muhammad and his family, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But is there another definition? Can it mean something else possibly when we say hayat? Well, in Shifa al Sudoor, the famous commentary of Ziyarat Ashura, it gives another possibility. It gives this possibility, and the author gives this interpretation that here hayat means different stages or different degrees of hayat. And when you say, I want to be like and have the hayat of the Holy Prophet of Islam, you understand that he is more alive. He has a higher form of life, we could say. His spirituality is higher, therefore he has more life. And then, or you could say his heart is more alive, is maximum alive. So it's saying that give that hayat, that life, that the Holy Prophet of Islam had, that spiritual life, that awakening, that soundness of the heart, and give me that. And so this would be rutbatan in terms of stages. And this is a very interesting, debate or talk that we could have, because we understand that, someone might be confused. What do you mean life or death? Well, obviously we're not talking about a person whose heart is beating or brain is working or whatever. What we're talking about is that heart, the qalb, and using the Quran many times, fa'ad or sad or chest or heart, it's used here as not an instrument of an organ to pump blood, oxygen throughout blood, throughout your entire body. It's used as a faculty that can understand. It's used as a faculty that can see, a faculty that can hear, and a faculty, we say here, that has hayat, that is alive. The soul is alive. The heart, we can just say in other terms, means the soul. The soul is alive. And when we get into sin and get into materialism, into the dunya, we kill that heart. So we don't want our heart to die. We want it to be alive. And that live heart sees God. That alive heart sees the prophets and the imams, can connect with them. So that's what we're asking for in Ziyarat Ashura, this interpretation from Shifa al Sudoor. And we see verses of the Quran like this, Ya ayyuhal ladina amanu stajibu lillahi wa lil rasul. Oh, you have believed, respond to Allah and to the Messenger. When what? إِذَا دَعَاكُمْ لِمَا يُحْيِيكُمْ. When the Messenger of Allah calls you to that which gives you life. So the message of Islam is a message that gives the heart life. And that's what we're looking for. And you feel that. You feel when you get higher spirituality, you understand that you are more alive. And everything feels right. And then when you disconnect from God, and you kill your heart, and or you start to weaken, that faculty of the heart that could see and hear, and then you just feel terrible about yourselves. Let's read another verse of the Quran. Man amila salihan min dhakarin aw untha wa huwa mu'min falanuhyiyannahu hayatan tayyibah. These are very famous verses of the Quran. Whoever does righteousness, whether male or female, while he is a believer, we will surely give to him a good life. Allama Tabain al-Mizan here doesn't say we give him, change his life. Here it says we give him life, we give him hayat. So, alhamdulillah, we have the religion of Islam, and we have the call of Islam is the call of life, because it's the awakening of the heart, awakening of the soul. And once your soul is alive, you feel great about yourselves. You feel that connection that you have with God is alive, is strong, and you feel very, very good. So at the end, we're going to talk about a little bit about what we can do to keep the heart alive. So Ziyarat Ashura, you're doing dua to keep my heart alive. Of course, connecting to those that are alive, like the Prophet and Imam Husayn alayhi salam, those that have true hayat. That is a good way to keep yourself, alive, your heart alive. But there's two things that I want to recommend for ourselves. One is thinking. Thinking in the tradition, pondering, is hayat. وَكَانَ يَقُولُ, in this hadith from Imam Ali, كَانَ يَقُولُ, he used to say, الفكر التفكر حياة القلب البصير. Tafakkur is life of the seeing heart. So tafakkur, thinking. What do you think about? Where did I come from? Where am I now? Where am I going to go? Verses in the Quran, they see signs, about, they look at the creation and they say to Allah, you have not created this in vain. They look at the organization, the beautiful system, the design, all the coordination that's happening within all this, within organisms, and throughout all of creation. And they say it's beautiful. He says, there's a purpose to all of this. There's a God, a creator for all of this, right? A designer for all of this, a sustainer for all of this. So when we think about the realities and the philosophies or the worldview that we should have, that's giving us hayat. Then you will be alive. The second thing that we can do to keep ourselves alive, or give more, what I'm saying is not, physical, metaphysical life, is action, amal. Amal in action gives us hayat. Look at how beautifully Imam Ali Nahj al-Balagha Sermon 176 says, I enjoin you with action indeed. Al-amal al-amal, he says. I enjoin you with action indeed, then to take to its completion. Thumma nihaya nihaya. So he says, do action, and go towards completion, to its end, Wal istiqama al istiqama, and be strong and establish it and maintain it regularly. So always act, take those actions to completion and maintain it. Then to preserve it in its performance. Thumma sabr, or but then it says, wal wara, being pious. Then he says this statement, and this is what we're talking about. Inna lakum nihayatan. So for you, there is an end. There is a maximum level. If I understand this, this way, there is a maximum level for you. There's a maximum potential that you have. Inna lakum nihaya, fantahu ila nihayatukum. So take yourselves to your destined end. So all of this is done with action. Take yourselves to your destined end. By action, go towards it yourself. You have potential. Allah has created you with this potential, and you have this, great end. So we learned about these two interpretations of Allahumma ja'al mahyaya mahya Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Oh Allah, please make my lifetime, in the same way as Prophet Muhammad and his household. You can say his lifestyle, or you can say that rutbah, that degree of hayat, which is maximum degree in the Holy Prophet. Give us that, exhilarating life, hayat, that you can connect and see and witness and feel, ultimate joy and live about it. And we said there's two ways, besides, of course, connecting with the holy Imams, the Prophet of Islam, and because they're the doors of God, two ways, thinking, and at the end, we said amal, action. And action will get you there, inshallah. Today we're going to mention some of the musibat of Imam Husayn alayhi salam. We said amal, right? Action. What is one of his highest actions in Karbala? What is one of his greatest jihads in Karbala? They say it is Ali Akbar. Ali al-Akbar, his beautiful son. Ali Akbar, it's his son. And he was ashbahun nas, khalqan khulqan, to the Prophet. He looked the most and had the most disposition of the Holy Prophet of Islam. And even though there are many other people that were martyred from his family, but when I personally see the story of Ali Akbar, I see, fi'liya. I see that he had attained perfection. The other younger people that were martyred, they're all, cannot say who's higher, which higher, but you see that Ali Akbar, because of the age he had, that he blossomed, So then to see that perfection that come out, to see, someone look like the Prophet and act like the Prophet, because he's, a little older. Then to have someone martyr him in front of you, what a great test it is. Because you see beauty. Anybody that sees Ali Akbar on the battlefield and coming to, to his father and asking, to go to battle. And then they came The war started, he got permission. And then he came and started reading this poetry. أنا علي ibn al-Husayn ibn Ali, نحن وبيت الله أولى بالنبي. I am Ali ibn al-Husayn. By the house of Allah, we are those rightfully endowed with the Prophet. By Allah, the son of the spurious son will not judge us. I will strike with my sword and defend in defense of my father. I will strike with the blow of a Hashimi, a Qurayshi. So the war begins, and Ali Akbar goes to the battlefield, and there Murra ibn Mungath al-Abdi, after the battle's happening, he comes and promises this, says, may the felonies of the Arabs come on me if he gets past me. So there he comes and strikes Ali Akbar. And Ali Akbar was struck down. And then they surrounded him and cut Ali Akbar into pieces, irban irba. فجاء الحسين حتى وقف عليه. And Imam Husayn came and was standing on right besides Ali Akbar and said, may Allah kill the people who have killed you, my son. How foolhardy they are against the merciful. Then his eyes were full of tears and said this very famous sentence, which shows the pain of Imam Husayn when you have such beautiful perfection, fi'liyat, and when it comes to kamal, in perfection, completion, to be cut into pieces and to be killed in front of you, martyred in front of you. Then he says, ثُمَّ قَالَ عَلَى الدُّنْيَا بَعْدَكَ الْأَفَى. Upon the world after you, Ali, may there dust be on it. This world does not have any more meaning for me. It's meaningless, this world. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdullah.